right, my pals, it is time to finally review the Oura ring that I'm not even wearing because it's on my charger. BRB. She's here now. So we're gonna go through the Oura ring Gen 4 today, so the newest Oura ring as of right now, January 2025. I will preface by saying that my camera is crooked, but that's not what I was gonna say. Maybe this is less crooked, I don't know. Preface by saying I did not have the other Oura ring, so I can't compare like functionality wise how it compares to the Oura ring Gen 3 or whatever. Before, historically, I've been tracking my health and fitness via the Apple Watch, so that's kind of what I keep in my mind as I'm thinking about these things. But the primary reason I got the Oura ring in the first place is because I wanted to get away from the Apple Watch. I want to just have like a normal clock, like traditional clock watch, like a fancy one, you know, and get away from the like vibrations on my wrist and like always having to put it on, take it off, and making sure I have it charged for my workouts, blah, 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 blah. And I'd rather just track my 24/7 health and wellness and fitness through the ring instead. So that's the reason I got it. And so today we're gonna go through, first of all, we're gonna do a pro and con right at the start, and then we're gonna go into like more of the nitty-gritty. So I think I've split it up into wellness functionality, fitness functionality, technical stuff, sleep, obviously, yes, sleep. I love sleep tracking, and I feel like the Apple Watch was so bad at sleep tracking. I had to like buy a separate app for it so that I could analyze more sleep data, but it was still not as juicy as the Oura ring's sleep data is, but we'll get to that. First things first, let's go through the pro-con list. Pros, for me, it's a pro that it's from Finland. I am myself from Finland, so I really thought it was like super nice to be able to support a Finnish company, so that is a pro for me. It's also a pro that it is HSA eligible if you live in the US. That's a great thing, but essentially that is like, if you're not familiar, it is like a tax-free healthcare like card, debit card that you can have as a form of like health insurance. So like you can pay medical bills and things like that with that money that you've accumulated there. But I actually did buy my ring using my HSA account, which was great. So it was like fully reimbursed to me. It has great sleep tracking and a lot of really fascinating data, not just for sleep, but like all around. The entire app is full of like really awesome data. And if you're a data lover and like to, you know, see things about your body and understand how your body works a little bit more, this is such a big pro. I love data, especially about myself and like understanding myself. So the data being robust is a really big pro. It looks gorgeous. I feel like the Gen 3 ring looked a little clunky on people. I've never worn it personally, but I just felt like it was a little bit of like something my eye went to when I saw it. And this one, I feel like it's not really super eye-catching in a bad way, like excuse my calluses and stuff, but it's very sleek looking, and I do not regret getting the silver at all, because I've seen some horror stories of like people getting the gold and like it scratching off and becoming like gold and silver and stuff. So I really, really love that I went with the silver one, which is cheaper anyway, so win-win all around. But I think the silver looks gorgeous, super sleek and shiny and nice and pretty low profile, which was kind of my other pro. It's much more lower profile compared to my expectations. Another pro is that it ties together the data it accumulates really well to kind of tell you a story in a digestible way, which I really appreciate. And I think it'll become even better at doing like the storytelling thing as AI gets more and more prevalent and advanced. It already gives really good insights and like not only like how your previous day was, but it'll look at like how your previous week was and be like, hey, you had a really active week, or like you had really good sleep for the past week, great job, like this can translate into XYZ, blah blah blah, you know what I mean? So I really like the data storytelling it does as well, not only providing the data itself. Another pro I have is that I love the Headspace integration. If you know the app Headspace, it's like a meditation app. And sometimes when the ring flags that you're stressed or whatever, it'll provide like a little 5 to 10 minute snippet from Headspace that you can like listen to and kind of calm yourself down and like get those stress levels down. And I love that so much. So those are the kind of the pros that I've accumulated for the past month, 6 weeks. I think I've had it for almost 2 months now. So those are the pros that I've accumulated. As for cons, I think the price is a con, especially if you want a color other than silver. I think the silver is $349. So with tax and everything, it's probably like $400. And then like if you want the gold or the rose gold or the brushed one and whatever, like the price goes up and up and up. So I do think it's quite pricey. The battery life, honestly, I'm content with it because, you know, at the end of the day, I had to charge my Apple Watch literally twice a day. And this one, I try to charge it every now and then when I'm just sitting at my desk doing nothing, like every other day or something, just a little bit at a time. But if I let it drain completely from 100 to like 0, it's probably like 5 days. I think the battery life is okay, but not as good as I expected. I expected to be able to have it for like a week or something. But I will say the blood oxygen stuff, measuring that it does overnight, that does drain battery. So it tells you itself that like if you want to save more battery, you should turn that function off. I haven't yet because I still like seeing the data. That is something to consider. I have to take a sip of water because as you can tell, I'm not good at monologuing. Whew. You know when you drink so much and then your eyes get all glazed. Moving on. So the ring like can start auto tracking activity, for example, walking and running pretty well. Like every time I walk my dog, it recognizes when I start and when I stop, and then it suggests it as like an activity to add into my like app or whatever. But it doesn't do it with strength training. So if you want to like record your heart rate during strength training, you have to manually start it. Another con is that it doesn't always recognize when I'm laying in bed reading. So it thinks that I'm just like laying there trying to fall asleep, but really I'm laying there reading. I don't know if that's like a thing that it has to like figure out about me, because I have been adjusting. I like tap my phone to check what time I put my book away at night, because I read every night before bed. And then like when I wake up in the morning, I'll adjust it to when I recall seeing the clock last. Sometimes it'll be like, hey, your latency, which is like the time it takes for you to fall asleep, is really high, like 50 minutes or whatever. And then you get a bad sleep score, but you can adjust it, the latency or whatever, after you wake up in the morning, and then you'll get a better score. But it's just like a little annoying thing. Lastly, the last con that I have is the monthly subscription cost. I did pay mine for like a year, and that was like $67, I think, or something. And that is also HSA eligible. But that's just like, I already bought this like $400 ring. Why do I need a monthly subscription cost? You know what I mean? So that's a little annoying. But now that we've gone through the pros and cons, let's dive into each bucket. So we have activity, technical, sleep, and wellness that I'm going to talk about. So first things first, activity. As I mentioned, you have to go into the app and start measuring your heart rate for a lot of activities. I think it only auto tracks a certain few amounts. I don't know. I haven't raked leaves, for example, and seen if it understands that I'm raking leaves. You know what I mean? But at least when I go and like hit upper body or something, it doesn't understand that I'm working out. So I have to go into the app and manually click record workout heart rate, and then I have to go and end that session after I'm done. Not a big deal, but something to keep in mind if you want to use this as a fitness tracker as well, which I kind of am doing a little bit. I feel like it's good for, as a bodybuilder, it's good for like the strength training portion, because I don't like really care about my heart rate or like distance or whatever when I'm working out, like lifting weights. But when I go for my runs, I obviously want like a snapshot on my wrist so it doesn't completely kill the need for a fitness watch on my end, since I am training for a half marathon and I want to be able to see the pacing on my wrist and stuff like that. But I feel like if you're just doing strength training and stuff like that, I feel like it definitely can replace a fitness watch, as long as you go in and remember to start your workout heart rate recording. As far as step count accuracy goes, I feel like it's pretty accurate. I don't love the overview of like the step count. Like I wish I could see like day by day in a more zoomed out way, but you can do like per week, per year, per month, per day, that kind of like graph. But I feel like Apple Health has a better overview, if that makes sense. But as far as accuracy goes, I do feel like it's accurate. And I really like that, because like when I wore my Apple Watch or just tracked steps on my phone, it wasn't always very accurate because I didn't bring those everywhere I went. But this ring is literally on my finger all day, every day, 24/7, unless I'm charging it. So I feel like it's very accurate, and I love that it takes literally every step into account. My favorite thing about like activity stuff is that if you've had restorative good night's sleep and like your body signals, like your body temperature and like your HRV and your heart rate and your resting heart rate and all of that, if everything is looking good, it will raise your suggested target calorie burn for the day. So for example, my baseline is set up 550 calories of like activity per day. But if I have a really good day, you know, like if my body's signaling really good things or whatever, it'll raise that to like 700 or 750 or something. And I really, really like that. Similarly, it'll tell you to like take it easy. I've actually had the opportunity to be sick while having the Oura ring, so that's more like a wellness thing, but so I'll get into that then. But I really like the active calories and like how it adjusts based on how your body is feeling and responding and showing signals. It'll give you like zones too, like if you record your workout heart rate, it'll give you like zone 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and where you like spent the most time during your workout. It also integrates with Strava for whenever I do my running. So heading into technical stuff, I don't have too many points here, but as I mentioned, the battery life is only okay in my eyes. Like it could be better. 5 days is not bad. Like 4 or 5 days, that's pretty great. Like if you go on vacation for a week, you only have to charge it once during the vacation, you know what I mean? So it's not horrible, but I just expected it to be better. That being said, like I mentioned, if you turn off the O2 reading at night, I'm sure you could push that into a week, like a ring battery life of a week. So it might be my own fault. The sizing kit that was sent out, so I ordered the sizing kit because I had no idea what size to get. It is very like, I thought it was going to be like a paper and like you stick your finger into the paper holes or whatever, but it was like a legit like rings, like in all sizes, not like obviously these rings, but like plastic rings, so you could wear it for a while and you could see how like it feels throughout the day, because your fingers grow and shrink if you're warm or cold and eat sodium and whatever. So their sizing kit was really, really good, and it really helped me narrow down which size to get, because I was definitely in between 2 sizes. So I'm very grateful for that. A con though is that it takes a while to get the ring, because first they send out the sizing kit and then you have to like decide on the size and then you order the ring. So like it took me like 2 weeks from the date of purchase to actually having the ring with me. App experience is so good. I've had very few complaints, and as I mentioned, it gets to know your body day by day, week by week. So like now it knows my body and my patterns way better than it did even like 2 weeks ago. And like I mentioned, the app has so much data and so many functionalities, and the data storytelling is so good, and it gives you like little like boosts of encouragement, and like yeah, it's just, I love the app experience and how deep you can climb into every rabbit hole that you want to if you're interested in all of the data. So really love the app experience. And then lastly, durability. I definitely have some scratches on it, even though I wear a protective cover on it when I'm lifting. But I feel like scratches, like, you can't really avoid them. So I'm not like super concerned, and you can't really see the scratches unless you go really, really up close. It still looks nice and shiny and new to me anyway. It is waterproof, dishwashing proof, cold proof, hot proof. It is a durable little guy, at least so far, knock on wood. Next portion is sleep. As I mentioned, I love sleep data. I love to know my deep REM, how many times I wake up, whatever. It seems fairly accurate in terms of like remembering that I woke up that time, or like going to the bathroom at night or whatever. But as I mentioned, laying in bed and reading will sometimes, like, it doesn't always know that that's what's happening. So you have to manually adjust the latency. As long as you kind of know what time you close your reading light at night, you can kind of adjust accordingly. And it'll also like recognize if you take a nap or something, which is cute, and I like that. And if you have a bad night's sleep, you can get a better sleep score if you take a nap later in the day. So if you wake up and your readiness score, which is like kind of how it deciphers if you're ready for a heavy workout, if you should take it easy, go to bed earlier, whatever it may be, you can improve your readiness score if you take a nap at some point before your lift or something, which I love. And as I mentioned, the data and insights, love them all. They're so good. Heading into the wellness side of things, you can add tags, which I really like. So like, say for example, I add a tag reading before bed, and then it'll tell me like a little snippet of information, like people who add reading before bed see a decrease of 2% in latency, or increase of 3% in REM sleep, or whatever it may be. It gives you like statistics like that, and I really, really like that. So I do use the tags a lot for like abnormal things. So I don't do reading before bed as a tag every day, because I read before bed every single day. But if it's like I had a late cup of coffee, or I had super much coffee, or I ate a really big meal right before bed, or I had alcohol or whatever, those tags I'll add in, and it'll give me like a little insight. And then those tags will also show up when you're like analyzing your data, you know. So I really like the tags that you can add. And I brushed upon this a little bit already, but I have been sick with the Oura Ring, and it recognized when I was starting to get sick. It flagged that my temperature was high, and that it gave me like a big alert as soon as I opened the app in the morning. Like, we're seeing major signs of like illness or whatever based on my sleep data and based on my body temperature changes. So that was really cool to see. And then the ring turned on the rest mode for me, so it didn't have any like activity calories or anything to track. It was just like focus on getting better, focus on, you know, resting up and taking it easy until you feel better again. And then once I feel better, I can turn off the rest mode. So as I mentioned, I really like the adjusting of the calorie target per day. I feel like that's also a little wellness related. Like, if you're not feeling well, it'll lower it for you automatically. And it's not gonna give you shit either if you like don't hit your target calories that day. Like, it's not gonna make you feel bad about it. I am in love with the daytime stress feature, and so far I feel like it feels pretty accurate. It's not always like stress. It could be good stress, or like you're, you know, working or whatever it may be. But I love that it measures like how your stress levels go each day. It goes from like stressed down 4 levels to like restored. It like gives you a balance of like, you've been this, like these many hours stressed today and these many hours restored. And like, it just gives you so much data about like stressfulness in your life and stuff, and I love it. And as I mentioned, I love this headspace integration, which I've used a few times when I've had like a high level of stress. I'll just lay down for 5 minutes and do the breath thing that it tells you to do, or whatever it may be that the Headspace integration has in store for you. And it's just so lovely. After you finish that little meditative thing, it'll give you like a little bit of data on how your body responded to that little meditation session. So that is it for this little review. I did not mention this in the beginning, but I do bodybuilding and I do running. So this is kind of like a bodybuilder's POV mostly. To wrap things up, if you're a lover of data and curious about your body and your body's day-to-day functions and responses to everything, and you want to prioritize your overall health and wellness and like have fun daily goals and stuff like that, reaching your activity goal, calorie target, or lowering stress or something like that, this is the tracker for you. But if you're kind of more wanting a fitness tracker, or you're not super interested in stress or stress physiological responses or sleep tracking and things like that, you may want to choose like a fitness watch or something else. I am so happy that I went for it and I got it. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.